Hello, and good to have you along. Focusing on your characters. Once again, we're going to do a case study. I'm choosing to draw on Virginia Woolf today. Every secret of a writer's soul, every experience of their life, quality of their mind is written large in their works. Great quote, and it follows much of what we have discussed in the earlier videos. Virginia Woolf, 1882 to 1941, British writer, essayist, and pioneer of modernist literature. She was born in London, grew up in an intellectually rich family, and had access to an extensive home library. Her father, Leslie Stephen, was a prominent literary figure, and her mother, Julia, a well-connected socialite. Woolf suffered early tragedies, losing her mother at 13 and her father at 22, which contributed to a lifelong struggle with depression and mental illness. Woolf experienced severe mood swings and depressive episodes, now believed to be bipolar disorder. She had several mental breakdowns throughout her life, exacerbated by these losses and the pressures of her work. Despite this, she became a central figure in the Bloomsbury group, an influential circle of writers and artists and thinkers of that time. Unlike her brothers, who attended university, Woolf was educated at home, where she had access to her father's vast library. She became an avid reader and developed a deep love for literature and history. She married Leonard Woolf in 1912, and together they founded the Hogarth Press, which published actually quite major modernist writers' works like T.S. Eliot and Sigmund Freud. Woolf's own literary contributions include Mrs. Dalloway in 1925, To the Lighthouse 1927, and Orlando in 1928. Throughout her life, she battled these bouts of depression and took her own life in 1941. Her novels often play with a passage of time and the nature of self. Her work continues to be celebrated for its innovation, psychological depth, and the exploration of gender and identity. Woolf often walked for miles through the streets of London, very similar to Charles Dickens, drawing inspiration from its people and the atmosphere. This reflected in Mrs. Dalloway, where her protagonist strolls through the city, observing life around. So, creating female characters, there shouldn't be much difference here. You're looking for depth, complexity, authenticity. You've got to give them goals and give them agency. What does she want? How does she pursue it? Does she take action, or is she passive in her own story? What obstacles stand in her way? How does she overcome these obstacles? Again, we're avoiding stereotypes and the damsel in distress, the femme fatale, strong female characters that seem to lack any vulnerability. Make her relatable. Develop her relationships. Give her a rich inner life. Flesh out her background and consider her physicality, her style, how she stands, her sentence structure, how she speaks. Make that characteristic consistent, and then let her evolve as the story progresses, again following the character arcs of positive, negative, or flat. A well-written female character like other characters, should feel real as any person, full of contradictions, strengths, and vulnerabilities. Another interesting quote, which will provoke a lot of thought, and of course, you sense a huge amount of her time was spent extracting this. And these are why quotes are sometimes very good, because they melt down the essence of a person's philosophy. The quote is, "Someone has to die in order that the rest of us should value life more." So again, we're getting strong perspective there. And that helps you understand her more. And in understanding her more, you will then be on a quest to understanding your character more, and to look for the elements that you want and feel is essential to making that fully realized character. Thank you very much for joining me again. I look forward to seeing you on the next one, and otherwise, bye for now.